Thank you, Mary, for your support, and I can say as a regular attendee of the school committee meetings that Mary is always focused on asking about children with special needs and what's being done to not only improve our services, but to also make sure that whenever changes are being made district-wide, that the needs of children with disabilities are always being addressed. So we truly appreciate her support and obviously her attendance here as well. Thank you, Mary. So the positions tonight are on the board. I talked about the alternates, but I think that it would be helpful to talk a little bit about an overview of sort of what SpedPac has done. I mentioned a little earlier. We do go to the school committee meetings, and once a year we do a presentation to the school committee, so we try to identify both the successes of the past year and also the challenges. On the go forward, we said that one of our challenges is transition planning. The district has not done a good job so far with regard to services for transitions for children 14 years old and up, which is supposed to be part of their IEP process, starting with the IEP under which they turn 14 years of age. So we're looking to have that addressed specifically. This year the focus really was on the backlog in ABA services. The district hired 4 new contractors. They hired a new internal workforce, and I'm happy to report that the backlog in ABA evaluations has been addressed. It was as high as 187 at one point of children that were waiting to be evaluated, and that's been addressed and resolved, and ABA services are being provided in a much more comprehensive way. We have the services of the May Center, ABLES in Newton, and also RCS. And we also have a couple of programs that have been started by the New England Center for Children so that they're ABA-based classrooms as opposed to just discrete trial work. So obviously that's a major accomplishment, and I think we were able to bring a lot of focus on that issue, point out that the district was out of compliance on those issues, and a lot of resources were dedicated to taking care of that. The second issue had to do with early childhood. There was a backlog of early childhood students that were waiting for placements and waiting for services. The district has increased the number of early childhood classrooms throughout the district. I don't know if people are aware, but they reopened the Fifield building to address the significant number of students that were unanticipated. I think there were somewhere in the area of 120 students that were unanticipated coming in. The numbers seem to be growing larger with regard to early education. So the Fifield was opened, and we said that we would support the opening of the Fifield because we didn't want children to be going without services, but that was not to negate that inclusion is always our priority, especially for younger children who learn through play. We want classrooms that are developed to have inclusion opportunities and to be inclusive. And so we met with John Beer, it was either yesterday or the day before, about the Fifield proposal on the go forward in addressing the number of inclusion classrooms, not just for K0 and for K1, but also for K2. The district overall has an increase in the demand for early childhood programs. So obviously making all of those classrooms inclusive is a way that we want to start children off. Currently the district has about 48% of our children with disabilities in substantially separate classrooms, and we want to get that number down. It's far above the state average and the national average. And one of the ways that we see to address that is to start when the children enter the system and not start them off on a substantially separate track and start them off in inclusion programs. So those were the major 2 priorities, and now we're shifting to focus on to the next priorities. There seem to be plenty of priorities to fill the place of the ones that have been addressed this year. Also, the issue of technology has been brought up, and sort of what is the use of technology for children with disabilities, because it provides our children with opportunities that is really unparalleled. I know myself that my daughter, who's significantly impaired, now has an iPad, and she's using it for things like spelling and math and to communicate, and then it also provides the opportunity for reinforcers built right into it. I know the ABA providers have been provided with iPads, and then now they're using those with their students. So we want to look at expanding technology, and not just something like the iPad, but software programs that help children with reading and writing. And we want to see a technology plan that looks at the long-term plan so that when children are using technology in the elementary school, that there's a continuity in that service and availability of that technology as they move on to middle school and to high school. it would be an absolute crime for a child to have access to a tool and learn and be able to, you know, do grade level work or even undergrade level work, but actually complete things in a way that's easier and supports their learning, only to have that tool no longer available to them as they advance in grade. So those are two of the major priorities. I don't remember the full presentation we did, but it's on our website, and